Hi everyone, this is Rihanna from A Frugal Life, and today we're going to be talking about 15 money mistakes that you don't want to make and what to do if you've already made them. So the first money mistake that you don't want to make is keeping up with the Joneses. Yes, my name is Jones, and maybe you want to keep up with me frugally, but you don't want to keep up with me in that keeping up with the Joneses way. So that just means that you don't need to keep up with your neighbors, friends, family, or coworkers with things that they buy, travel expenses that they take on, debt that they incur. You don't need to have the high-priced BMW in the driveway next door just because your neighbor has it. You don't need to go on a high-priced vacation just because your family member goes. And you don't need to buy expensive clothes and jewelry just because your coworker comes to work in the same expensive jewelry and clothes. So keeping up with the Joneses is never a good idea unless it's me and you're keeping up frugally. You don't need to go into debt, and you don't know their situation. Maybe they have inherited that car. Maybe they saved up for that vacation. You don't know their expenses and their situation and their priorities, so you just want to stick with your own priorities and the priorities of your family. That is a top mistake that a lot of people make, and that is one that you definitely don't want to make. Step number 2, and we all do it, is not reading the fine print on contracts. Whether you're purchasing something online, you're buying a subscription, you're buying a gym membership, a car, or a house, it doesn't matter how long it's going to take to read that fine print. Ask them for a copy, tell them you'll go away and come back. Don't let somebody tell you what's in that contract. Make sure that you read it yourself, and if you don't understand it, have somebody else who does read it for you and explain it to you. People get caught up in huge amounts of debt and entitled or obligated to do things that they don't want to do because they've signed a contract that they thought was simple and somebody told them it was okay to sign. So that's a huge money mistake that can get you in deep. We once signed up for a gym membership, which, as you know, is not a cheap or frugal thing to do, but we did have some money that we wanted to put into investing in ourselves, so we signed up for gym membership. But it turns out when we moved out of state, we were not able to get out of it, even though we were 2,000 miles away from their nearest gym. So if we had signed a contract, if we had read that contract that we signed, we would have known that and we wouldn't have signed up at the time. So always read your contracts. Number 3 money mistake you don't want to make is not having enough life or medical insurance. So in the US, where I live, it is very disastrous if you pass away without life insurance. Your family members or your friends or anybody that you're leaving your estate to can get stuck with a lot of expenses if you don't have life insurance. So it's very expensive to bury somebody, and it's very tough if you're the sole breadwinner and you pass away for your family members to take care of themselves. You need to have some sort of backup for them, so at least in that first few months of something happening to you or a family member, you have some things taken care of and you don't have to worry about that stress while other things are happening. So it is a monthly expense or a yearly expense, but it is worth it. Things happen, people pass away, people become disabled. Make sure that you have enough life insurance and medical insurance, and just be smart and shop around. I have another video that always tells you to shop around. I will link to that one down below. That's 18 things frugal people do. One of the things frugal people do is have life insurance, and a money mistake that you can definitely make is not having life insurance. Number 4, and that is something that people think is usually for wealthy people, it is not, is for everybody, is diversifying your income. Make sure that you are never dependent on one form of income. And if anything, COVID-19 has taught us that becoming dependent on one form of income is a bad idea. Even if you think that you're going to be at that job for life, or your husband or wife is going to be at that job for life, as we can see from the pandemic, things happen. They shut down businesses. People are out of work who have been working at the same job for 30 years. You cannot depend on one form of income. Diversify your income. So make sure that everybody in the household who is an adult has some sort of income coming in, whether it be a part-time or a full-time job. Make sure your income streams are different. Everybody should not work for the same company. Everybody should not have the same type of job. Don't have a house full of bartenders, because if all the bars shut down like they did with COVID-19, now everybody is out of work. So when I lost my job 2 years ago. We were lucky enough to have my side income of pet sitting and some income coming in from my aunt who lives with us to kind of tide us over when I lost my job. So it wasn't as terrible as it could have been if I was the only one bringing in income in only one way. So I will be putting out some more videos, but search side hustle on YouTube and you will find some ways to get some side income even during the time of COVID-19. It is good to have any amount of income coming in that's addition to your main source of income. Number 5, and this goes with number 1 of keeping up with the Joneses, is don't replace things that aren't broken. So it is okay to replace appliances, cars, or other things in your household when they are broken, ripped, or torn beyond repair, but you don't need to replace them if they're not broken. And that goes along with my 18 things that frugal people do video, which is linked down below, is learn how to repair, mend your own things. So learn car maintenance and repair. Learn to repair your clothes and don't replace things if you don't have to. Replacing things is a big outgoing expense that you don't need. You do not need to replace things until you absolutely have to. You don't need to buy the new phone. I have had a phone for a long time and it works perfectly fine. In fact, I am filming my video on it now and it is so out of date. So you do not need to replace things until you absolutely have to. Number 6, and I'm 150% guilty of this one, is not opening your mail. Bills, other things, I tend to not open. I avoid them because I'm terrified of finances at times. That is why my husband does the bills, because I don't like to see the bills. I am okay with making money and giving it to him and having him pay the bills. If you have anxiety like I do over that, have somebody else in your family either monitor the bills or open the mail. But if you're trying to get out of debt, if you have bills coming in, open every single thing. And you never know, because sometimes we open the mail and it turns out to be a small check from a class action settlement, a card from a grandma with some cash in it. Sometimes you get money unexpectedly and you have no idea. We got a check back from DMV. Of all places, we thought it was a bill and it was a check because we had overpaid. So make sure you open your mail and don't avoid your finances. Avoiding things that you have to pay just means you're going to have to pay more later, and it's going to be way more stressful in the long run. Number 7 is to make a budget. This is a given, but a money mistake that people make, especially in the beginning, is not making a budget. Figuring that they know how to do it in their head, just paying the bills and going along on a day-to-day basis. You will always save more money. You will always be able to diversify your income and prepare for emergencies. You will always save more on groceries if you just make a budget, because things do not stay in your head well. Write them down, get together with your family and make a budget. And don't think that you can just fly by the seat of your pants. So a big money mistake people make is not making a budget. It's tough, but just Google make a budget on YouTube and you will get 1,000 different ideas for budgeting. So pick a popular one, start researching, decide which budget you want to use, and make a budget with your family. Number 8, and this is one people do a lot in the beginning of a marriage or in the beginning of their life as they're starting out, is to ruin your credit. Your credit can get ruined so fast and it takes so long to recover from it. So don't avoid paying a bill if you have a past due bill. Don't avoid paying your monthly bills. If you are struggling because you've lost an income, call them and make arrangements before it goes to a credit collection agency, before it goes on your credit. People are always willing to work with you if you're unable to pay anything. I don't care if it's a $1,500 bill. I have a $1,500 debt that I wasn't able to pay when I lost my job, and I called them and they are accepting $15 a week payments. So they will accept anything just to make sure that they're getting your money and the collection agency doesn't, because if they send your bills to collections, they make pennies on the dollar. If they take it from you, they get the full amount, even if it takes a while to get it. So don't avoid bills. Don't avoid collection agencies. Don't avoid things that you owe. If you have a debt, pay it. Don't ruin your credit, because if you ruin your credit, it's on there for the next 7 to 10 years and it is so hard to get off there. So a big money mistake people make is ruining their credit just because they're not thinking about it or they're stressed out about it. Just don't do it. Google how to fix your credit. Google how to keep good credit. Google all about credit. I suggest signing up for Credit Karma. I am not an affiliate sponsor. I do not get any money for this, but I will put the link down below. Credit Karma is so helpful. They give you your credit report all the time, updated for free, so you can check it every single week. My husband checks his practically every day, and he has boosted his credit score so far just by keeping track of that. So keep track of your credit and don't ruin your credit. Number 9 is important, but people overlook it, is don't keep too much in your checking account. So make sure that if you have a surplus at the end of the month, you move that money into an investment account or even a regular savings account. If you keep that surplus in your checking account, you have a debit card, it is so easy to just think, well, I have a little bit more and I can spend it. If you move it out of that, if you don't have easy access to it when you're at the store to overspend, it is so much easier to save money. So make sure that you move money out of your checking account into your savings account. I do Acorns. It does rollover amounts, and it also allows me to put over it is from my checking account each month into my savings Acorns investment account, and I really save without even thinking about it. So I will put that link down below, but make sure you don't keep too much in your checking account. It is too tempting to spend it. Number 10, and this is a tough one for some people, is overspending on travel. This is a big mistake people make. Taking out loans, putting travel on a credit card, all of these things will put you into debt for a very long time. I know memories are important and exciting, but find a different way to do it. If you have to take a vacation, take a cheaper vacation. Save up throughout the year, have a sinking fund for your vacation, put in a bank account just for your vacation and save up throughout the year. Don't ever, ever, ever put a vacation on a credit card or a personal loan. Don't go into debt for a vacation. This is a huge amount. A huge mistake people make is overspending on travel when they don't have the money for it. You should not be traveling at all for fun. If you have debt, you still need to pay off. This is an obvious thing. If you watch Dave Ramsey, I'm going to suggest it, even though again, I didn't used to suggest him in the past. I'm really loving him now. He would never say to spend if you're still in debt. So you want to get out of debt, then save up the money, then travel, and you will feel so much comfortable and safe, and feel the stability of having money in an account and not being in debt for a vacation, because it's going to be really great right now when you go to Disneyland, but 10 years from now, you're going to wonder why you're still $10,000 in debt, and it's going to be that vacation. Number 11 is a fun one. And that is, don't forget to invest in yourself. You are important, not just your kids, not your significant other, but you. Invest in yourself. So if you have always wanted to learn something, save up and buy a class on it. You can purchase classes online now because we're in COVID-19. You can also learn for free at multiple different places. I will put my free learning thing down below, but it's okay to pay a little bit. Also, if you save up, if you're not putting yourself into debt for it, it's okay to pay a little bit and invest in yourself and get an education. So it's never too late to go back to school. It's never too late to get a degree. It's never too late to get a high school diploma. If it costs a little bit of money, education is good. Education is okay to spend money on. Just don't go into debt for it. Don't overspend on it. It is okay to save up and invest in yourself, because those skills can bring you more money down the line. So if you invest in a notary class, you could make money as a notary public. If you invest in a project management class, you could considerably boost your income. So investing in yourself is a good thing. Discuss with your significant other what things you are excited about, and discover some classes that you can take to invest in. Investing in yourself is an awesome way to spend your money. Number 12 is not saving enough. So especially when you have a very low income, it feels like you cannot save anything. If you have a low income and you're not feeling like you have an excess, follow my method, my TAC method video down below on how to reduce some things, and then take a little bit of that money that you save from reducing those things and put it into a savings account. Again, you can use Acorns or Chime or any other type of account, but take that money out of your checking account and save it. And as you go, you can progressively add a little bit more and a little bit more. It is always a great idea, as you're getting more and more frugal, to take that savings that you have and put it into an account to actually save it, and not just go out willy-nilly and spend the money. So we've seen from the COVID-19 pandemic that it is very important to have an emergency fund. Having an emergency fund 3 months to 6 months, or even just the $1,000 in a bank account, if you happen to lose your job or lose multiple sources of income, is so important. So a mistake that people make is feeling like they don't have enough money to save and not saving. So stretch yourself, think out of the box, and find a way to save even a little bit. Even $5 a week or $5 a month, everything makes a little bit of difference. Number 13 is not discussing money with your spouse or significant other. So if you live with another adult of any sort, friend, family, anybody you're sharing expenses with, you need to make sure that you discuss your expenses and your outgoing money as well as your incoming money. It is never a good idea for a significant other not to understand how much money that you have. It's never a good idea for one person to know the money and one person not to know the money, especially if something happens to one of you. So a big mistake people make, especially in a one-income household, is not discussing their money and their expenses. Even if you're not the one earning the money, you should know where it's going, how it's going out, how it's coming in, how to pay the bills, all those different things. Make sure that you cover your butts and discuss it with your spouse so everybody knows what to do in an emergency and how to handle things with your spouse is gone or sick or anything that may happen. So make sure that you guys are on the same page and you discuss your finances. Number 14, and my husband and I are definitely guilty of this one, is taking out too much in student loans. We have a student loan we are still paying back from 2004 for my husband because it is a big loan for a vocational school and he was not able to get a job in the field when he came out of it. So one thing you want to make sure that you do when you decide what kind of education to get is to find out the actual job prospects of that position or that skill level in your area. Discover if there are jobs in the place that you're going to live, discover how hard it is to get that job, and discover even if you do get that job, if you're going to make enough money to pay off that student loan. Because sometimes you can get a student loan for a profession that makes little to no money. So I'm not going to call anybody out and say the actual professions, but there are lots of degrees that cost a lot of money to get and are not worth it in the end because you still end up being a retail worker, customer service, just like the person next to you that doesn't have a degree. So make sure you research what education you're getting, and if you can at all, don't take out too much in student loans that you won't be able to pay back within a year or two. You do not want to be like myself and my husband and paying off student loans like 14 years later. So that is a huge mistake that people make, is taking out too much in student loans. Number 15, and this is going to be the last one for this video, so I don't overwhelm you with too much. And the last thing that people make a mistake with money is impulse spending. So if you do have too much in your checking account, for instance, you could be wanting to go out and see a dress you really want. You see something on sale that you really want to buy because us frugal people love sales. You see something online come up in your Facebook that you think that you just have to have. Impulse spending is a terrible mistake to make, and it is so easy to fix. Maybe you actually do need that dress or that car or that kitchen gadget. Let's not say that you don't need it, but you should think about it first. So save that link, walk away from that store that has that item in it, and wait 48 hours if you can. If you can, I highly suggest big purchases you wait 15 to 30 days for. Discuss them with their spouse or significant other. If it's over $100, definitely discuss it. Definitely wait, because you may discover that there's other things that you can use instead. You may discover 15 days down the line, it just doesn't feel like something you want anymore. Even if you want it so bad right now, it can change in 3 weeks. So if it's a big purchase, wait 30 days. If it's a small purchase, wait at least 48 hours. If it's non-essential, always try to avoid impulse spending, because that is a huge money mistake that people make. That's it for this video. If you have any tips or tricks or things you want to talk about in the comments down below about mistakes that you've made or people around you have made and you think that people should be warned about it, please go ahead and comment. The most important thing is to like this video and subscribe. If you subscribe and hit that notification bell, you'll be notified when the next video comes out so that you can make sure not to miss it. And go ahead and hit that Facebook group down below if you want to join us. Over 51,000 members right now talking about frugal living in our totally free Facebook group. And I will talk to you later. Bye.